to bring your attention to is something new this year called Response to Intervention, better known to us as RTI. RTI is both a state and a national approach through which educators analyze student learning. This approach recognizes that early intervention is critical to preventing future problems in learning. We've been implementing the RTI process now, pieces of it, for many years. It's now become a very formalized approach for us. All students hit free expectations, and that's about 85 to 80% of our kids. We call this level now Tier 1. And at this level, all students are in the main classroom working through the curriculum. But unfortunately, we do find sometimes that despite our instruction, some students aren't performing as well, and they need some more intensive interventions to happen. So the teachers intervene, and they use different research-based methods and strategies to help students who are having problems. These students are watched carefully, and they're monitored, and we call that, the new term is progress monitoring. These students are carefully watched, so we try a different strategy or intervention, and we watch to see how they're improving, or if they're improving. And there's about 15% of the students that we call in this level 2 or Tier 2. These students get more assistance than the regular education classroom. They're watched carefully, and these students are also brought to what we call problem-solving teams, where a team of teachers sits down together and discusses what's going on with that student. These students are given immediate feedback on their progress so that they are learning whether it's working or not. And if they are learning, that's great, but if they're not, what's going on? This is much more intensive, and with the teachers, it involves a lot of graphing, charting, and data collecting. Still, with some students, this approach even isn't quite enough yet. So for a very small minority of students, about 3 to 5%, we have to redouble our efforts and provide even more intensive remediation. That their case has to be further studied and evaluated by our special services staff. So at our district now, we've just started this RTI process, and we focus primarily at reading. That was our big push this year. We have committees created at all the school sites, teams at each school, and the principals will be giving you more details about that. There's also a number of informative places that you can gather more information. Again, this is a national and a state approach. RTI is something that parents all over the country are learning about, and it's especially hitting hard this year. The other areas that I'd like to bring your attention to are assessment, and it goes hand in hand with the RTI process. We have to use some measures to determine whether our children are at grade level. We would hate to wait till the end of the year to find out what we're doing in the classroom's not successful. 3 times a year, we give our test of measures of academic progress test, or better known to you maybe as MAPS test. Now, the district has been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now. It's a computerized test that our students take, and what's nice about it is that it's adaptive, meaning that if a student is struggling and having a difficult time answering the question, a question will come up that's a little easier on the computer. If a student answers the question correctly, the student it's a little difficult because they're used to going through a test and zipping through it, but not having the questions get at their same level all the way through. So it's a challenging test for all students, and we do that in math and reading, both in the fall and the spring. In the winter, some students who aren't doing well or who need extra attention, we also give them a MAPS test in appropriate classes for the following year. Along with our MAPS testing, every year we give what we call a cognitive skills index in grades 3 and 5. That's a 60-minute test. It gives us a brief snapshot again of a child. We also use something this year new. It's called AIMS Reading Fluency and Reading Comprehension. That's a new area this year, and it helps us with the whole RTI process. Our whole goal is to collect this data so that we don't have any students that we're leaving behind. We've got our ISAT data, and that's a state-driven test. That's a test that we give every March, and sometimes we get the results back early and sometimes we don't. Every year we try and look at that data to tell us more about how our curriculum is or isn't working, whether we have gaps in the curriculum or whether we are doing something too much or we need to change our curriculum around. For instance, if we give a test in March and we don't hit geometry hard until April, you can imagine what the geometry portion of that test will look like. So it helps us understand better how our curriculum should be aligned and that we are meeting what Illinois has, something called the Illinois State Frameworks or the assessment frameworks. It's all tied together so that we make sure that our curriculum is matched and that kids are getting the best level of education possible. This year, one of our new pieces that we put into place, K-5, has been math. We did math last year. We implemented it in 6-8. Our math program is new this year. It's a hardcourt program. We're very confident that this program is tightly aligned with state standards. In our K-2 program, we're finding that it's a very challenging program. It's very conceptually based, and students and our teachers are doing very well with it. And in grades 3 through 5, we have another hardcourt program that continues up, and that we can find different pieces online. We're working with the publishers to get all of this online so that parents have access to this, similar to what we have going on with reading and our foreign language programs. We know there's always the question out there, well, my kids have to lug these heavy backpacks home with all these books. So as we're home, and then there's supplemental sites that parents can use for reinforcement. Science is our area of study this year. Every year we have a different area of study, and we usually study one of the curricular areas for about two to 3 years before we make any recommendations for change. So we look at what we're currently doing, and then we add what best practice tells us we should be doing. We examine a whole host of other programs out there, and we try to arrive at a good decision that will meet our needs of our students. And science is the area under study this year. Really no recommendations will be coming forth for new science until next year when this whole study completes.